It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we're going to be taking a look at a can of Aldi's relatively new lager. It's been on the shelves for, I'd say, about 3 months. It's called Lock 10 Brewing Company and it's their craft lager. It's 4.6% ABV. It was £1.20 a can. 330ml can here. A refreshing lager crafted with Northern Brewer and Aurora hops. There we go. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Sounds pretty good. Let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. If anything Aldi beer related kind of they can do really right is their lagers. That sentence was terrible, sorry. If one thing Aldi can do right, it's to produce a lager. The Pilsners are good. Rheinbacher Pilsner. Rheinbacher Weissbier, very, very good. Technically, Weissbier being an ale. But terrific kind of German style beers, they know how to do it. They got a really good Pilsner as well. It's numbers, it's like 1457 or something. It's a kind of Kronenberg rip-off Pilsner, but it's a pretty good beer. So I'm hoping that equally this is going to be a good craft lager. So we've got a one finger white head. It's a free. I've got it just out the fridge, by the way. So it's a free. You can see the frosting on the glass, the condensation on the glass. I have just got this out the fridge, so it may be that it probably needed to warm up a little bit, but generally my fridge is set to 4 degrees in there, so it's going to be fine at 4 degrees. The one thing that does slightly concern me is the large bubbles. Now, a brewer once told me that the smaller the bubble, the better the beer. So when you see a beer with fine carbonation, absolutely wonderful, absolutely fantastic. When you see a beer with almost, you could call that rough carbonation, couldn't you? Then maybe it's not going to be so good. But it's amber in colour. It's not a straw coloured lager. It's definitely amber in colour. Quite clear. Let's get the aroma. Oh, it's hoppy. Definitely hoppy. You know, I quite like a craft lager. I like the fact that with the lager yeast, that's already giving off a slight kind of estery aroma. Then you add some hops to the mix. Some of those Aurora hops. And it combines to offer, this is a little bit of lemon and orange I'm picking up here, but that esteriness from the yeast also gives off a slight kind of dryness in the aroma at the same time. A spicy, peppery, dry aroma. It smells pretty good, this one. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Very clean, very, very clean tasting lager. Very estery, very lager-like, very crisp, dry, very refreshing, spicy, peppery. Going back to the word refreshing again, you could definitely sling this back. You could definitely sling this one back and it's not too bad. That aggressive carbonation as you hold the beer in the mouth, it does kind of it is aggressive on the palate. It's kind of like hissing and fizzing a bit on the palate. It might be the case that you drink plenty of it, it might bloat you. If you drink it quickly, it might bloat you out on a downside. But have a look at it. As I'm rolling that beer around in the glass, it looks good. It looks... Now I'm able to... I mean, you can always knock carbonation out, can't you? You can kind of knock it out the glass by giving it a bit of a whirl. But look at that head recreation, and look at the way that lacing is in the glass. It's one of those beers that I call it impulsive buys. It's an impulsive buy. You walk past the supermarket shelves in Asda, you get to Aldi, you get to the beer Asda, you get to the beer aisle in Aldi, you've already picked up some cheap food. It's kind of, you haven't really got to think too much about it, have you? If you're deciding to have a bit of a drink, a bit of a beer in the garden, then you can go, I'll have a couple of their Weiss beers, I'll have a couple of their Pilsners, ooh, look at this Lot 10 Brewing lager, I'll have a couple of them, because it's cheap, isn't it? It's cheap. It's like if you were in Tesco, Sainsbury's, Marks and Spencer, then those £3 or £3.50 or £4 cans of craft beer, you're being a little bit more careful, aren't you? You're kind of, oh, will I like that? And you're reading the back of the can, and you're reading that it might be a sweet stout, or it's a IPA with fruit puree or fruit concentrates, and you're like, oh, do I really want to be spending £3, £4 on this beer? And you might kind of, that's not an impulsive buy then. That's pick up the can from the shelf, study it, ask yourself a question, am I going to like it? Maybe put it back on the shelf, maybe put a couple of cans in the trolley. With Aldi, it's kind of, oh, they've made a couple of new lagers, Pilsners, Weiss beers, a couple of cheap stouts. You know, you just throw it in. You're not overly concerned of what the beer... Of course, you want it to taste nice. Of course, you want it to be half decent. But at the same time... I think I've covered this enough now. At the same time, you could just throw a few in the trolley. Because at the end of the day, if you don't like it, that £1.20, well, it's not £3, £3.50 or £4, is it? It's a third of the price. What I'm saying here is that the next time I'm in Aldi and it's 30 degrees outside and I'm just throwing beers in the trolley, I'd throw a couple of these in the trolley. That's what I'm kind of boiling all this conversation down to, is that, yeah, I'd throw a couple of these in the trolley, put them in the fridge. It's unoffensive, quite tasty lager, actually. It's got a bit of a kind of a peach and mango flavour coming through as the beer's warmed up slightly. Yeah, I like that. I think I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.